What up, it's Red, and I don't think I've ever posted Fallout on my channel before. Maybe I have, I can't really remember, but I want to talk about Fallout 4 a little bit, because Fallout's a game that I really love, and I'm really excited for the fourth one, and a lot of people think that it might come out this year. So for all you Fallout fans who have been living under a rock, Bethesda said that they are having their own E3 conference this year. So you know how you see like Xbox has their big conference, and then PlayStation, and then like Activision and Ubisoft and all these big publishers and console people have their own things. Well, Bethesda's having one this year, and they've never done that before. Actually, Fallout 3 was announced at 2008 E3, and that was in the Xbox conference, I believe. New Vegas and Skyrim weren't at E3. Well, I think they were at E3, they just weren't announced there. So who knows if they're going to announce it at this next E3. I would assume that they will, because, you know, what are they going to show? The Evil Within 2? Like, no, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that game to get a sequel, because that game is horrible. Well, it's not horrible, it's just really hard and can be very frustrating. I mean, there's some cool things about it, but for the most part, it's just a very stressful experience trying to play that game. I would not recommend it to a friend or even to an enemy. That'd be kind of a cruel thing to do to somebody, is recommend them to play The Evil Within. I'll sell it to one of you guys though. I will. I don't really care for that game anymore. But back on Fallout. Fallout 3 was released in 2008 October, and then 2 years later, a different company, Obsidian, as we all know, released their game in October. So maybe they're going to follow the trend and start releasing Fallout every October. Well, not every October, but in October every time they release a Fallout game. And hopefully that's this year. Hopefully we don't have to wait till 2016, because 6 years to wait for a new game from a series is a long time. I mean, if I have to wait for more than 3 years for the next game in a series, it better be good. So, I'm thinking they're definitely going to have a new engine in this game. They have to. If they brought back the old engine, it would really surprise me, but it wouldn't. What's the word I'm looking for? It wouldn't upset me at all if they used the last Fallout engine, because the Fallout engine, it's not amazing, but it's not bad at all. I don't really have any problems with it. There are a lot of bugs with it though, like the VATS glitch is the one that comes into my mind in Fallout New Vegas. If you're at all reloading, if you're at all in the reloading animation, there's a bug where it'll just freeze there in VATS, and there's a number of other glitches in that game. So please try and make sure your game is good. If it's going to take 5 or 6 years for this game to come out, and it's probably not going to be published by Obsidian, because Obsidian worked on like South Park, and I think they're working on other games right now. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Bethesda Game Studios, which, if I'm not wrong, their last game was Skyrim, so they've got to be working on something right now, which is probably Fallout 4, I would imagine. You know, I want a really clean game without all these bugs and annoyances that Fallout has sometimes. So I guess I'll kind of go off on my little wish list thing at this part of the commentary. So some of the things that I want in Fallout 4. Well, let's start off with some things that I don't want. I don't want microtransactions of any kind. They sort of had them in Fallout New Vegas. They had the Gunrunner's Arsenal, which wasn't really a microtransaction. It was actually pretty cool. It brought a lot of really different weapons into the game, which was pretty cool. I kind of like the Gunrunner's Arsenal, how they updated it with some cool weapons. And then they had Courier Stash, which is kind of more like the microtransaction side of things. You just start off the game with a few extra items. So if they just keep it at that in the next game, that's fine with me. Just don't add a whole bunch of microtransactions. It's really expensive and just changes the game a lot. DLC is absolutely cool with me. I love having DLC in Fallout. DLC is just great. You know, you get to kind of the higher levels, middle levels, and then you're like, all right, let's go play some DLC, and then you go do some of the DLCs, and you can get some cool weapons from the DLCs, like all the alien guns in Mothership Zeta, or you can get some certain like sonic emitters in what's it called, Old World Blues, so you can like fight off robots easier and stuff like that. There's just some cool weapons in there. There's some cool, I don't know, I just really love DLC, and I love all the opportunities that come with Fallout DLC. Like, you can take the game to different places. You can take it up in the air on a spaceship. You can take it into Utah, the valleys over there, and then you can take it I don't know where Fallout 4 is going to take place. Where would I like it to take place? I have no idea. You know, we've all heard the rumors, oh, it's going to be in Boston. Boston, I guess, would be pretty cool. I don't know a lot about Boston, but I'm sure wherever that they make it take place would be really cool. What else do I not want? I don't want vehicles or anything. I know Skyrim had like horses or whatever, which was kind of cool for Skyrim, but I don't think Fallout needs any sort of like vehicles or other sorts of transportation. Fast travel's cool, running around's cool. Should sprint be in the game? I don't know. I've always kind of thought that there should be a chem that makes you run 25% faster, which would just be pretty helpful in combat if you're fighting somebody who's melee or unarmed, or if you just want to travel across the map faster and you have to walk somewhere. That could be a pretty cool chem that they could introduce. But if they want to add sprint, I really don't care. I don't think it needs to be added, but if they add it, I don't really think that's going to hurt the game. Let's go on to some things that I do want to see. In Fallout New Vegas, we had hardcore mode, and it kind of changed the game up a little bit. You know, you had to eat like food and water, and you couldn't rest if you went to sleep. Like, it didn't restore all your limbs and health and everything. And I think it would be pretty cool if they had like different types of modes, like they have hardcore, and then maybe they could put a whole bunch of other stuff where it tweaks the game in a lot of other ways. So, you know, you have all these like challenges, like you can go through the game without using any guns or energy weapons, and maybe you just want to use melee unarmed and explosives or something like that. Or right now I'm watching Wings' Let's Play where he's doing no stim packs, so stuff like that. Well, not exactly like that, because you can pretty much just do that anyway. But, you know, just certain things that tweak the game a little bit, make it harder in other ways, because, you know, usually I put the game on very hard, just especially if I'm playing just normal, because it just makes it a little more of a challenge. It just makes the enemies a little tougher, and it makes you a little weaker. So it just kind of puts that edge on the game and makes it just a little more difficult. But I'd like other ways to make it difficult. Just to kind of challenge us, different types of, not really game types, I guess you wouldn't call it, just different ways to play it, like hardcore, and then a variety of other things. Might be pretty cool. I don't know, that was just kind of something I thought of off the top of my head. An idea I thought of, I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea, sort of like an Elder Scrolls, how you can choose what race you want to be, like what sort of... you know what I'm talking about. You don't just have to be some human or whatever. You can maybe in Fallout you could choose, maybe you want to be a ghoul. Like you want to play as somebody who has been really hurt by radiation, and you want to play the game as a ghoul and kind of, you know, build a storyline off of that, because Fallout New Vegas was really just kind of a build your own storyline game, and I kind of like that whole aspect rather than Fallout 3. It's just like one set path, like you're this guy, you have this dad's doing Project Purity, and this is how the game goes. You can kind of base, you know, are you good or bad, but that's pretty much how Fallout 3 went. Fallout New Vegas was a little more open, and I'd like Fallout 4 to be very open, and I don't know if this is a good idea or bad. Please let me know in the comments, because I'm not really sure it's a great idea, but it might be cool to kind of see. You could play as a ghoul, or maybe even a super mutant or something like that, just kind of to change the game up and maybe give your character a little bit of a different background. And, you know, certain groups like certain races better. Like I know that Brotherhood of Steel doesn't really care for ghouls, so maybe if you interact with the Brotherhood of Steel while you're playing as a ghoul, they don't really like you as much, and you really have to prove yourself to them if you want to be a part of the Brotherhood of Steel or something like that. But I really do like what Fallout New Vegas did with reputations and stuff, and it's not just about good or bad karma now. It's about how good is your reputation in each area. Like, are you idolized here? Are you liked there? Are you hated here? You know, what groups like you? What groups don't like you? Please let me know in the comments what you want to see in Fallout 4. How excited are you for it? Do you think it'll come out this year? Hopefully October. If it doesn't come out October, then please early next year. I can't wait much longer for this game. Never leave this video without leaving a comment. Make sure you do that, and have a great day. See you guys later.